In this video, I'm going to share you exactly how to get into Airbnb business today, step by step, so you know exactly what you're doing. Plus, I'm going to show you how to do this remotely. No matter what city and state you're in, you could be across the United States or across the world for that matter, as long as you have Wi-Fi on your phone, and how to run this business. So let's get right into it. I'm going to share with you the 8 steps you need in order. Make sure you stay all the way through because each one is very important to move you to the next level. First thing is you're going to want to start an LLC. Okay, now you can go to your Secretary of State. Like in the state of Florida here, we have sunbiz.org. You just go there. Guys, they make it so bulletproof now that it's made for dummies. Like you can't mess up. So don't pay third-party companies to basically set up your LLC. It's very simple. Pick a name, check to make sure it's available, and then you can literally do this. And it takes about 2 to 3 days for the paperwork to come in. So your first step is to start an LLC, and the reason for that is because it actually makes it legit. You're not just doing it as a person, right? There's something about you having an LLC that actually mentally prepares you to say, you know what, I'm a business. Also, when I teach you how to do corporate leasing, you don't want it in your name personally. That's the whole purpose of corporate leasing, not personal leasing, okay? So step 1, get your LLC set up. Now, the second step is we have to decide whether we want to do a arbitrage or a purchase. Let me explain. Arbitrage is where we're just going to rent a property from a homeowner, okay? And then we're going to get their permission by a legal addendum that says, hey, Mr. Landlord, you understand we're not going to live in the property. You're allowing us to put it on Airbnb, okay? That's rental arbitrage versus a purchase, which is very clear. You go to the bank, you get a loan, mortgage, right? XYZ, you buy the property, and then you don't have to talk to the landlord. You essentially own the property, and then you can throw it on Airbnb instead of just putting a traditional tenant in there, you know, where it's going to stay for a year. You're not going to hear from that person. You could legitimately do 2 to 3x in revenue if you do it right by using Airbnb versus just a traditional tenant, okay? I teach both methods. Rental arbitrage is just renting a property. Purchasing is where obviously you're purchasing. Now, what are the real differences? Well, you can do about 5 or 6 rental arbitrages for the same amount of money that you would do on a purchase, right? Because you got your purchase price, you've got your taxes, you've got your insurance, right? You got to fight interest rates right now that are very high. And so I'm going to lean more, if I'm going to give you my opinion, towards rental arbitrage for the simple reason that interest rates are bad. And why do we want to give a bank money when we don't have to? You can just rent the property, use it for a couple years, right? Generate revenue from the Airbnb guest, and you don't have to you don't have to own anything, right? Number 3 is I want you guys to pick a market. So what does this mean, right? It's the number 1 reason that people fail in Airbnb because they don't know what we call property and market research. I'm going to give you a couple cities that are really good, but first let me share with you what you want around those cities that really attract people to stay in Airbnb. Well, the first thing is I always teach a method called the 4 H's. Okay, it starts with hotels. Okay, you want to be around really nice hotels, not cheap hotels. And the reason for this is because if you put an Airbnb around a cheap hotel, you're competing with a hotel, say for $150. So any hotels that are $150 less a night to stay at, stay away from those. If you got a really nice hotel, right, that's $300-400, then you put an Airbnb around that, you'll do well because you're not competing with price. See, a hotel can always lower less than us, right? Because it's a large business. Now, so we got a hotel. The other H is going to be hills. Many people like to ski, right? Think of Poconos, think of Gatlinburg, right? Pigeon Forge. These areas where people like to ski, people like to hike, people like to go mountaining. So these are really, really good areas where you would want to have an Airbnb because there's a lot of people coming in tourism, right? Number 3 in the H's is going to be hospitals. And this is a lane and a niche that I play in within Airbnb. And that is we get travel nurses, we get doctors, we get chiropractors. We also get people that want to be close to a major hospital. They have somebody, a family member going in and say, you know, having surgery. If a husband needed to have hip surgery and the wife wanted to stay close to him, we don't want to put her up in a rinky-dink 300 square foot hotel for 3 weeks. We're going to put her in a nice place that she has a full kitchen, she can cook, she can clean, she can relax, right? But it's not a very small. Like we have a 1,500 square foot place that's less expensive and they have full opportunity for the whole property versus a 300 square foot baby hotel, right? So be around really nice hospitals when picking a location, and you will do really well. And the last one, actually I'm gonna give you a bonus. The last one is H2O, that's the fourth H. And that basically means this. When you are next to a property or have a property that has a pool or a hot tub, these properties will always do better than properties that don't have a pool or a hot tub, okay? So if you have an opportunity to have a Airbnb with a pool and hot tub, always choose that first. Secondary with H2O is if it is a ocean view, lake view, river view, or any kind of massive view of water, will always do better than properties without as well. And I'm gonna give you a bonus here, and that is national parks. We see a lot of people right now that are booking and they want to be close to a national park, right? So you've got, in Buffalo, you've got Niagara Falls, right? You've got the Grand Canyon, and then some other national parks, right, that are at Joshua Tree. There's a lot of national parks. And so if you can pick an Airbnb, whether it's a rental or a purchase around national parks, you will generally do well as well, okay? Now, let's go on to number 4, and that is you have to decide what property you want. Do you want to start with a single family house? Do you want to start with an apartment? Do you want to start with a glamping site, right? Which is a glamp tent, right? You got tents, you got A-frames, right? What is the structure itself that you want to make a decision on picking to start your Airbnb business with, okay? So I am very apt to teaching on single family houses. I can teach you on getting apartments. I can teach you on tents. I can teach you on glamping. And so just pick the structure you want as far as the property itself, okay? Now, one of the other really big important things is called a theme, okay? So you have a southern theme, you have a northern theme, you have a western theme, and then really a west coast theme. There's 4 themes in America that do really well. Now, let me give you an example of what I would do if I wanted to increase my occupancy and pretty much assure that people are gonna come into my property. Go to Airbnb. This is a hack. Go to Airbnb, right? Check the properties in your area, or any area really for that matter, that are doing well. This is a free way of doing market research. Go on Airbnb, right? Filter it by properties that have the highest revenue. And then what you can do is you can look at their calendar to see how many times they're booked per month. You can also see what their decor looks like, right? So if you look at some of the most expensive places, what do they have? Do they have chandeliers? Yes. Do they have like painting or texture on the ceiling? Yes. Do they have an accent wall behind the master king bed? Yes. Do they have king beds? Yes. Do they have like a lot of knickknacks and a lot of green trees? Yes. These are things that you're gonna wanna put inside your Airbnb that are gonna attract. But these properties are massive usually, right? 5, 6, 7 bedrooms. What I would like to see is you might wanna look at a studio or a 1 bedroom and then just look at the themes that these people are doing in massive homes and just change it and do a smaller rendition of it in a smaller property. Because if it works in the big properties, it's gonna work in the small properties as well. Okay, number 5, you gotta reach out to landlords if you're gonna do rental arbitrage. Okay, so essentially this is what this means. When you are renting a property from a landlord, now we're not talking about purchase, this is called rental arbitrage, which means that when we find a property in an area that we like, you gotta reach out to the landlord. You guys say, Mr. Landlord, look, we're a corporate leasing company. We have travel nurses, doctors, chiropractors, business professionals. We have relocators. Sometimes we have our guests that stay for 2 to 3 days. Sometimes they stay for 2 to 3 months. But the difference, Mr. Landlord, is we're gonna keep your property in for sale condition the entire lease. We have no smokers, no pets, and generally no little kids. Now look, what we would like to do to show you we're serious is actually do a 2-year lease with you instead of a 1-year lease. Okay, everybody's background check before they come in for the safety as well. We put an e-lock on the front door so we can monitor the people coming in and out. We're gonna be the best tenants you've ever had. We'd like to, again, put a 2-year lease on. Can we put together a deal? So that's how you're gonna pitch it, okay? Now remember, just because you're saying that up front doesn't mean that the landlord, once we agree, is not going to sign a legal document called an addendum that basically spells out, hey, you're allowing us to put it on Airbnb, vrbo, and bookings.com. Okay, so you just don't pitch it as Airbnb up front. You're gonna be much better because landlords have this stigma, and this is because it's been all over the news where kids have died in Airbnbs, people have been raped, right? There's creepos, And so Airbnb has this stigma based on the news that it's a bad thing to have in people's property, and landlords remember that and they say, okay, I think it's going to be a big party. People are going to trash and you're not going to pay, right? That is not the case with Airbnb. In fact, Airbnb made a lot of changes with their platform. They don't allow a lot of people to stay if you book the last minute, the red flags, if people are coming in a party, if they're not verified. So Airbnb did a really good job in changing their platform to basically accommodate where most of landlords were thought that it was a bad thing to do. So again, you guys, if you want to get into arbitrage, you gotta get into it by talking to a landlord. And I'm gonna tell you something, this is a must. You gotta learn sales, you gotta learn negotiation, because if you're gonna contact a landlord and pitch them and you have no credibility, no background, no Airbnbs, no references, no website, you better be a master negotiator. You better be able to negotiate somebody looking to jump off the end of a ledge before they kill themselves, right? That's called a master negotiator. And I'm gonna tell you something, you gotta be that good. So if there's one skill that I would tell you, no matter if you go into Airbnb or not, one skill that will feed you forever is learn the skill of sales and negotiation. Just take your time and just watch sales stuff, okay? I teach sales. I've been teaching sales for about 15 years now. I teach negotiation. You gotta be really good at getting people to buy into your opportunity, because if you don't and you have no credibility, they're gonna laugh you off the phone and you're gonna be in a position where you're just making hundreds of calls. Okay, you guys follow me? So if you follow me, then follow me down to where it hits the subscribe button, because if I haven't provided enough value at this point, guess what? I got more coming. So hit the subscribe button, thumbs up, and then any comments you guys have. So the first thing I want you to do is hit the subscribe button, because I come to you every single day to make sure I give you the tips, tricks, and strategies on how to get into Airbnb. Now, number 6, we have to set up a team, okay? Now, you don't necessarily need to set up a maintenance crew immediately, but that is something that as you scale to multiple units, by the way, the average Airbnb host has 1.2 properties. If you're looking to do this as a hobby, why not have a bunch of properties? Why not have 15, 20 properties? You're gonna do the same amount of work. But I think a lot of people, and if you Google this, the average Airbnb host has how many properties? It's 1.2. If you guys are looking to play pool or darts, that's a hobby. You wanna get into a business where you can scale it. It's very scalable. So arbitrage actually is much more scalable than purchasing, because like I said in the beginning, you can get 5 to 6 property for the same price investment on front end that you would be able to do on a purchase. Okay, so it's much more scalable. The other thing that's much more scalable is when we talked about what do you want to get, a house or apartment? Apartments are much more scalable, because what we call corporate leasing just means that you go into an apartment complex and you negotiate a deal to pick up 4 to 6 properties at one time. So if you're, instead of doing single family, single family, single family, single family, you go to an apartment complex, you say, hey, listen, I'm looking to do corporate leasing. Okay, we have travel nurses, doctors, chiropractors, we have employees, we have people that are coming in, XYZ, okay, and you can get 4 to 6 units right next to each other in an apartment complex. You see how this is much more scalable than just going single family, single family, single family, right? And so that is what you want to do. Now, you can keep the same house cleaner, or basically I'll share with you how to do this. What I would recommend when you're getting into Airbnb is find a cleaner, get on Indeed, and basically train somebody. Put a post up there that you're looking to hire somebody for cleaning your Airbnb. The reason is this: if you think about the cost, right, of doing this as an hourly rate versus a job, an average 2-bedroom place might cost $250 for a company, third-party company, to come in to clean that property, versus you hiring somebody, right? You can hire one person full-time for literally $20 an hour or less to go in and clean your property. So if it takes them 3 hours and you hire a company to do it per job, you're at $250, 3 hours of job. But if you pay somebody $20 per hour, which is very fair to clean a property, you're at $60 for that job. You see the massive savings that you get? And if you clean the property, and it should be cleaned, because if you're having high occupancy, which means that the turnover is every 3 to 4 days on average, you probably have 5 cleans per month. And if you just saved $150, that's $750 extra per month that you save by hiring somebody to do it, versus hiring a company to clean your Airbnb. Okay, now number 7, and that is you got to be omnipresent. Okay, so once we've identified our cleaners, get a cleaner, right? If you need to start with a cleaner by going to Turno, that's Turno, okay? It used to be Turnover Airbnb. Just go to Turno and they'll help you find a cleaner in the meantime. But I don't want you to think about hiring somebody right now for the team. If you need to get a property and get it on Turno, they will basically give you bids of different people that will come in and clean the property. You can start with that, but then optimize and eventually get to the point where you want to get your own cleaner so you're not paying top dollar, okay? But the next step is really going omnipresent. What that means is this. Most people just stick that on Airbnb. They're like, if I just put the property on Airbnb, it's going to do really well. But why would you not want to put it on Airbnb, vrbo, bookings.com, Furnish Finder, and all these other platforms, Peerspace? Why would you not want to be omnipresent and literally just be on one platform? You can also go direct bookings, which means you would have your own website and then promote that on social media, TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and all these other platforms, and you can actually run traffic and put gasoline on the fire, really. But that's more of an advanced strategy. You have Airbnb, vrbo, bookings.com, Furnish Finder that are marketing companies. You don't have to do any marketing initially. So go with multiple channels instead of just putting it on Airbnb. Then you're gonna take a multi-calendar, okay? And you can use Guesty. You can go Airbnb, VRBO, and bookings, and then integrate them onto Guesty, which is one calendar that your cleaners have access to. And I'm gonna show you, and that's gonna lead me into my next one, is how do we automate this business? Because you could spend 20 to 30 hours a week on this business. No questions asked. 20, 30 hours on one property. This was my situation. I was spending 20 to 30 hours per week on one property. I said, there's no way we can scale if we don't figure out how to automate. There's no way, because if I'm spending 20, 30 hours on one property, how can I get 10 properties? You just don't have enough time in a day. So I had to figure out the automation. And the automation comes down to really 2 to 3 things. Number one, you gotta have a team. So most people say, like, what kind of team do I need? You need a cleaner and you need a maintenance person. And the maintenance person is not even really used. We've probably used our maintenance person 3 times last year on the entire portfolio. It's not something you're gonna use all the time, which is why I said just get a cleaner right now. And then if you need someone, a handyman, you can go to Thumbtack or one of these other programs, websites where you can get, a cleaner. I mean, a maintenance person, right? Not a big deal, right? So start with just a cleaning company. And then, like I said, optimize and hire your own because you can do it by the hour versus the job, okay? So list on multiple channels, integrate it with Guesty or Price Labs, so that way your cleaners have access to Guesty as well. They'll be able to see the bookings. And so now it doesn't matter how many properties you have. The cleaners are doing their job. They know when to go in, they know when to go out, they know when to clean, when the next person's coming in, and your guest communication is also done by Guesty. Any of the questions, where do I go? What's the code to get in? Do you have parking? All that stuff can be answered by a bot. It's done right there in Guesty. You can also use Price Labs, but it's taking 3 channels, Airbnb, VRBO, and bookings, and then just integrating them with one platform, and this is how you automate the business. And lastly, I'm gonna tell you this. It's exactly what I wanted to tell you about doing this remote. I've got students that are in Las Vegas that have properties in Georgia. I got people that are in Georgia that have properties in California. You can run this business from a cell phone as long as you have internet. Most people ask me this question. Mike, how do I do it? Like, what, if I'm not there, how do I run this business? Let me give you an example how you do this, okay? You've got your cleaning crew in that city, okay? For example, if you're gonna do this and you wanna do it remotely, you're gonna get on Turno, make sure you have your 3 platforms on Guesty, and then you're gonna connect Turno to it. Because Turno is gonna find a cleaner for you, and then they are going to have access to the same calendar so they know when to go in and out. Okay, now, remember this, your property is, you don't have to go to it. Your cleaners are in the property multiple times per week, so they're your eyes on the property when you're not there. Okay, if you need supplies, the cleaner is gonna message you, hey, we need toilet paper. You're gonna Amazon it to the property, the cleaner is gonna take it from the front door, and they are gonna put it into the property for you. But remember, you're not gonna be introducing yourself. Hi, my name is Mike, and my Airbnb is right up the steps there. If you just go up the steps right there, take a right, you just come 2-second door on the right. If you type in 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll get to, you're not going to the property. Guys, there's properties I've never even seen before, right? How are people, my students, running a business all the way across the end of the United States? Because they set up a cleaning crew right there in their city. And then if the cleaning crew needs anything at any time, They're gonna message you and say, this is what we need. You order on Amazon, send it to the property. You just deliver it right there. The cleaners go in, put it inside the property for you. Any maintenance, again, you just have a maintenance person right there. It's very simple. Now, if you want to go to your property one time because there's things that you want to set up, most people say, what if I need to furnish the place? Okay. Well, if you need to furnish the place, you're going to probably want to go there for a weekend, stay at your place, right? Go get stuff from Facebook Marketplace, or maybe you're going to go to, West Elm Outlet, or you're going to go to, some of the other furniture places, or maybe you can even go to something like an Aaron's Furniture and they don't even require any credit. And then literally you can furnish the whole place in a weekend. That's what you can do. Okay, it should take you no more than 72 hours to furnish a 1-bedroom or a studio. 72 hours, so you could probably do it pretty quickly. Now, what I teach is how to find furnished properties. That means the bedding is there, that means the TVs are there, the couches are there, the night tables are there, most of it is there, okay? This is gonna save you a lot of time and energy so you don't have to go out, hire somebody to do it if you can't, or the time to actually go there and set everything up and the cost of doing it. So if you find something that's already furnished, it's much easier, right, to get this business up and running very quickly. So what I do, okay, and if I haven't deserved a thumbs up already, damn, I'm giving you some gems here. Subscribe to the channel, thumbs up, and message me, guys. If you need help at all, just message me in the comment section. Just say, listen, put the word Airbnb for me. I'll know that you're serious and you really want to do this and you want help doing it. Because what I'm going to do is not only help you find the right market in the right place, but also I'm going to help you get your foot in the door in 30 days or less, because I'm going to be the one helping you on the phone to negotiate the deals and on a furnished property. And lastly, I'm going to get you 4 to 8 weeks of free rent on the front end based on my negotiated sales. Now, once you learn how to do this, you're going to have your own credibility and you won't need me to do these calls anymore. But in the beginning, it's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of headache, and you're going to get, a property very quickly with my help. Put the word Airbnb in comments. I'll reach out to you directly. And if you guys need anything at all, you know where to find me. God bless, be safe, and I will see you on the inside. These are the 8 steps to get your first Airbnb. Thumbs up, subscribe, let's roll.